That's why you have to keep going, because that's when you get to the really good stuff, when you're really getting down the list. And it's stuff as you get down the list that makes you proud of who you are, not just about what you've done. Hello there, I'm Sarah McCluskey, and this is Research Adjacent. Each episode, I talk to amazing research adjacent professionals about what they do and why it makes a difference. Keep listening to find out why we think the research adjacent space is where the real magic happens. Hello and Happy New Year. Sounds a bit strange to say that because I am recording this in mid-December, as you might expect, but it is going to be coming out on the 2nd of January 2024. Goodness me. I suspect that it being Scottish has a lot to do with it, but I have always loved New Year more than Christmas. My granda frequently reminded me that when he was young, Christmas Day wasn't even a holiday in Scotland. And after the Reformation, Christmas was even banned in Scotland for a few hundred years. So New Year is definitely a big deal. You might also know that in Scotland, we get 2 days holiday for New Year. And despite the fact that I live south of the border now, I still think that going back to work on the 2nd of January is an abomination. So if you are back at work today, you have my sympathies. I am not. So that is why this is being pre-recorded. So I am a fan of New Year. Partly I do like staying up till midnight and partying, but I also love the idea of having a fresh start, a new diary. I'm a big fan of stationery, and also that sense of possibility. I think January is a wonderful time for reflection and contemplation, and a time to map out some plans for the year ahead. But that said, I am not a fan of classic New Year resolutions. Why choose the coldest and darkest month of the year to beat yourself up about your perceived inadequacies? So for me, it's about making plans from a place of kindness and maybe thinking about what you can do more of rather than what you can do less of. And great way to get into this mindset is to take some time to look back before you look forwards. And that's where the idea of a ta-da list comes in. You don't have to say it like that if you don't want to. But a ta-da list is the opposite of to-do list. So you know that cliche when, the magician goes ta-da when they reveal their card that they've had up their sleeve or whatever. It's a way of showing triumph or pride. So a to-da list is about all the things that you did last year that you are proud of. So grab a piece of paper or open a notes app or whatever and just start. I want to encourage you to try and write at least 50 things, a mixture of personal and professional. Now, I know that 50 probably sounds like a lot, and you will probably find that the first 10 things come pretty easily. And that's why you have to keep going, because that's when you get to the really good stuff, when you're really getting down the list. And it's stuff as you get down the list that makes you proud of who you are, not just about what you've done. To give you some examples of what I mean by this, I haven't done my list for this year yet, but looking back at my list for last year, 2022, the first 10 things on the list, and quite a few others, are quite tangible things, so reports that I wrote or the fact that I built a couple of websites. But it's when I get down the list that I have things which are about who I am as a person, like the very last thing I've got on my list, which actually was 56 I got to, was I put myself out there even though I was scared. And so also further down the list, I withdrew from a project that wasn't right for me. And honestly, those are the things that make me really proud of myself, even if they're not something that I can point to and show to anybody else. And that's why I want to encourage you to try and keep going until you get to at least 50. Now, I know already you're like overthinking and procrastinating this, I can guarantee it, but now is not the time to be modest. If you're a bit embarrassed, then you can always burn the list or delete it afterwards. You don't need to show it to anybody. But equally, if it would help you, you could do it with someone else and prompt each other when you get stuck. And the magic question here is what else? And every time you get stuck, just think, what else? Even imagine me saying it to you if that helps. What else? And I hope that by the time you get to 50, you'll feel amazing and so proud of what you've done and who you are. And figuring out what you did last year that felt good will help you decide what you want more of in your life in 2024. So I really encourage you to do your to-do list for 2023 before you do your to-do list for 2024. By really taking the time to connect to the things that made you feel good about yourself, then you can get out of that new year by really taking the time to connect to the things that you feel good. I'm going to start this again. By really taking the time to connect to the things that make you feel good about yourself, you can get out of that new year, new you mindset. Because there is nothing wrong with the current you. The current you is awesome. And you're going to look back at that list and say, look at what I did last year. I, for one, can't wait to see what you do next. So if you do try this exercise, I'd love to hear how you get on with it. So please send me a comment or a message if you find it helpful. Next episode, I'm back to the usual interview format when I'm back at work. But for now, I am off to go and write my own to-do list. See you next time. Thanks for listening to Research Adjacent. You can find show notes and other episodes at researchadjacent.com. I would absolutely love to hear what you think of the show, so please get in touch. You can drop us a message via researchadjacent.com or find us on social media at resadjacent. And if you've enjoyed the show, please think about sharing it, subscribing or leaving a review so that other people can find us too. Research Adjacent is presented and produced by Sarah McCluskey, and you, yes you, get a big gold star for listening right to the end. See you next time.